We're going up to the Palais des Nations to do a press briefing. It's a Tuesday morning. Today we've got the Director of the Europe Bureau, Philippe Leclerc, who's giving a briefing note about Ukraine, the impact of 3 years of war.
Okay, welcome. Let's start this press briefing of the UN Information Service here in Geneva. And I'd like now to call on our colleagues of UNHCR and IFRC to come to the podium. So I'd like to start with you, Philippe, to hear about the situation in Ukraine after 3 years of war, and then we'll go to Birgit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indeed, I visited and accompanied the High Commissioner in January to his sixth visit to Ukraine since the full-scale invasion, and almost at 3 years of anniversary of the invasion, the full-scale invasion. The resilience of the people is obviously remarkable, but 3 years of war have had so devastating consequences on so many people. Thousands of people have died. 10.6 million Ukrainians are displaced, 3.7 million of them within Ukraine, and around almost 7 million refugees throughout the world, mostly in Europe, continue to receive protection abroad. So each time we visit Ukraine, in particular the oblasts which are under intense military attack, in particular since the beginning of the winter on the energy infrastructure, we see the further consequences of the trauma among children, among elderly, among people with disabilities, all these people who in Donetsk, in Dnipro, in Sumy, in Kherson, in so many of these oblasts which are under continuous attack, remain in the vicinity and receive key humanitarian support in terms of collective centers when they have no home, shelter support, psychological support, legal assistance support, so that as quickly as possible they can benefit from the support of strained Ukrainian national services. At this time, in the heart of the winter, at the time when every day on these oblasts we continue to see the consequences of the missile attacks, humanitarian assistance is key in enabling these populations to continue to remain if they wish to do so. And many, again, elderly people with disabilities are staying in these frontline areas. It is key that the humanitarian support continues. A lot is debated about future peace, and we welcome all actions which go towards peace. The Ukrainian people need peace, but we know that it will take time. Right now, what I need to convey to donors, is the support that continues to be required so that this country, which is affected by mines, ordnance, perhaps 1/3 of the country has been affected by mine. It will take time, even if peace comes, to support the people who will need to come back, the people who are remaining in those areas, and the humanitarian assistance needs to be supported. You know that funding has always been difficult. It is, as we speak, even more difficult, not only with the many conflicts all over the world which require a response, but after 3 years, it is important, 3 years of full-scale consequences of full-scale invasion, it is absolutely important that the state donors, as well as private donors, continue to fund the humanitarian actors. And I'm glad to be today with Birgit, as the Red Cross movement is so important in responding to the needs. We are not alone as UNHCR. We work with the rest of the UN family, and even more importantly, with the local actors. Most of the actions that we are able to implement to support these victims of the population are national actors. Right to Protection, 10th of April, NICA, 13 out of the 14 partners we have in Ukraine are local actors. 90% of the procurement we make is done in Ukraine. All this is part of the UN and UNHCR effort to support the government of Ukraine, the civil society, the NGOs, to respond to the needs of the Ukrainian people. I'll stop here and be ready to take your questions.
Thank you very much. And just before I give the floor to Birgit, just on what Philippe just said, let me remind you that in 2025, the UN and partners are appealing for $3.32 billion to support 8.2 million people affected by the crisis in Ukraine and across the borders. And out of this appeal, the humanitarian needs and response plan is only funded 12.7% as of today.